Chapter 2. 3 days passed. The gray-eyed man didn't reappear. Alina's nerves, stretched to their breaking point, began to ease. Maybe it had been a false alarm. Maybe her paranoia was finally getting the better of her. She was leaving the hospital after a grueling double shift, the night air a cool balm. All she wanted was a hot shower and oblivion. She cut through the staff parking lot, a poorly lit concrete expanse that always felt vaguely threatening. She was halfway to her car when the engine of a black SUV parked nearby purred to life. Its headlights remained off, but it began to creep forward, matching her pace. Paranoia, she told herself. It's just someone leaving. The SUV accelerated, cutting her off. The passenger door flew open, and 2 large men in dark jackets jumped out. Their movements were efficient, professional, not muggers, hunters. "Alina Conti," one said, his voice a gravelly monotone. "Your father sends his regards." Time seemed to slow. This was it, the end of her 6-year reprieve. Her mind went blank, then sharp, honed by years of trauma training. She dropped her bag, her hand closing around the keys in her pocket. "Wrong person," she said, her voice surprisingly steady. She lunged, not away, but forward, driving the pointed end of her key into the nearest man's thigh, aiming for the femoral artery. He roared in surprise and pain, stumbling back. The second man was on her in an instant, his arm locking around her throat, cutting off her air. She clawed at his arm, her vision spotting. This was how it ended. In a dirty parking lot, dragged back to the gilded cage she'd sacrificed everything to escape. A shadow detached itself from the darkness between 2 cars. It moved with a silence that was more terrifying than the shouts of her assailants. There was a sharp crack, and the man holding her grunted, his grip loosening. He collapsed, revealing the gray-eyed man standing behind him, his expression cold and focused. The first attacker, the one she'd stabbed, pulled a gun. "Marshal, drop it," he yelled. "Marshal." The gray-eyed man, Sam, didn't hesitate. He fired twice, 2 precise shots. The gunman dropped. In the sudden, ringing silence, Sam Vance stood over the 2 bodies, his chest rising and falling slightly. He lowered his weapon, his gray eyes finding hers in the gloom. They were no longer just assessing. They were blazing. "Alina Conti," he said, his voice low and urgent. "My name is Sam Vance. I'm a U.S. Marshal. Your father's people have found you. If you want to live, you need to come with me, right now." Alina stood frozen, adrenaline screaming through her veins. The Marshal, the Conti hitman. She was caught in the crossfire, a pawn between 2 powerful, violent forces. She looked at the dead men on the ground, then at Sam Vance, the man who had just killed for her, the man from her file who was supposed to be her enemy. Trust was a luxury she couldn't afford, but survival was a necessity. "Why?" she breathed, her hand at her throat. "Why would you help me?" Sam took a step closer, his gaze intense. "Because the file my boss gave me says you're a criminal, but I think you're the one who put your father in prison, and I think someone in my organization wants you dead for it." The world tilted on its axis. Her secret, the one she had guarded with her life, laid bare by this stranger. The sound of distant sirens pierced the night. Someone had heard the shots. Sam held out his hand. It wasn't a request. It was a demand. "Your choice, doctor. The cops who might be on your family's payroll, or me." Alina Conti, the runaway, the informant, the doctor, looked at the outstretched hand of the hunter. And with a heart full of dread and a sliver of desperate, wild hope, she took it.